Hello, welcome to Module 7 of your BioScience elective. Today, we are going to be going on a vaccine adventure, and I promise it's going to be really fun. So first, you have probably learned a lot, or at least some, about vaccines. I know we've learned about the immune system together a little bit. You've probably learned about that in your biology class and maybe even in your elective class a little bit. So today we're going to be kind of refreshing our memories on what a vaccine is and how they're helpful and how they work against disease spread. So what is a vaccine? Vaccine is a lab-created chemical that helps the body fight against specific diseases. It contains part of an inactive version of a virus or a bacteria, usually. We're going to talk about some different types of vaccines in a little bit, but that's the general idea. And by injecting the vaccine, the body is prepared, the immune system is prepared to fight the infection if it's ever presented with it. So in your notes, answer this question in your own words. What is a vaccine? Pause here. Once you have that question answered, you can move on to the next slide. All right, so how do vaccines prevent disease exactly? So vaccines expose our adaptive immune system. Remember, we talked about having an innate immune system and an adaptive immune system. This is part of our adaptive immune system. So by exposing our adaptive immune system to the disease, it's able to develop memory cells. I'm sure you can remember those memory cells that have the antibodies, right, in order to fight the specific antigens that fight off the disease if the body's ever in contact with it again. So you may have heard of people recently getting a COVID antibody test, which means that they have been exposed to the virus in a way that ensures their body creates antibodies to fight it. So if we think about some recent vaccine developments, one of the more recent vaccines that's been developed is Gardasil. You've probably heard of Gardasil from your doctor, from your parents, from the news. So some strains of human papillomavirus, or HPV, can cause cervical cancer. So human papillomavirus is a sexually transmitted infection. It is extremely common. About 80% of people will get it at some time in their life, it's estimated. But there's a few strains of this virus that are more likely to cause cervical cancer in women. The vaccine was developed by using a virus-like particles. All right. So some of those proteins that are like byproducts of that virus infecting the body, and they evoke the production of the HPV antibodies. So the antibodies that will help fight the disease. So this vaccine specifically protects against 4 strains of HPV. So it's possible for someone to still get HPV if they have the Gardasil vaccine. They just shouldn't be able to get any of those 4 strains that are most likely to cause cervical cancer. So that's something to really keep in mind, is that Gardasil is actually not really intended to prevent HPV as much as it is intended to prevent cervical cancer. So it was licensed in 2006, which might seem like forever ago to you, but it is relatively recently in the grand scheme of things. And it was licensed, by licensed I mean like put out for use by the general public after 11 years of testing on over 14,000 people. So that's a really long time. So this vaccine was being tested for 11 years before it was actually available for people at their doctor's offices. But even as of 2018, so 12 years after the vaccine was licensed, there's still relatively low acceptance numbers, and a lot of the questions and arguments you see around people who choose not to get the Gardasil vaccine are around the side effects and around how it's so new and they aren't sure how the side effects will impact them. So that's like a really big thing to keep in mind here as we learn about our new COVID-19 vaccine, is how many people will actually use it after it is developed, and what will those side effects be. So what's happening with the COVID-19 vaccine? You've probably seen a lot of these new headlines, which can give us a lot of mixed feelings. A lot of talk of racing the clock, a lot of talk of new technologies that can make this faster than ever. A lot of new and maybe exciting, maybe scary information is around out there. So one thing to keep in mind with the COVID-19 vaccine is that it will be an mRNA vaccine, which is a new kind of vaccine where you're not really being injected with a weakened or an inactivated version of the virus. Cells are getting new mRNA to help them better fight the virus, which is new. And it's really exciting and scary. It's really exciting technology. And it's scary because we're still testing it and we don't totally know exactly the side effects or how it will work. Testing is currently happening on animals and humans. So yes, there is a vaccine that is in the testing phase. And what you'll learn about for the rest of your module today is more about that testing phase, why it's important, and what happens during that phase, and how long it typically lasts. Oops. So go ahead, continue on with the rest of your module, and reach out to your teacher with any questions. And I hope you have fun learning more about the COVID-19 vaccine on the horizon. Bye, y'all.